Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrindam. Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrindam. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrindam. Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrindam. Sri Caitanya-caritamrta, Adi-lila, chapter 8, verse number 31. The author receives the orders of Krishna and Guru. Chaitanya Nityananda Nahi Esaba Vichar Nama Laite Prema Dena Vahi Asrudar. Chaitanya Nityanande Nahi Esaba Vichar Nama Laite Prema Dena Vahi Asrudar. Chaitanya Nityanande Nahi Esaba Vichar Nama Laite Prema Dena Nahi Asradar. Ladies. Anyone else? One more. Chaitanya Nityanande. When chanting the holy names of Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda. Nahi, they are not. Esaba, all these, vichar, considerations. Nama, the holy name. Loite, simply by chanting. Prema, love of Godhead. Dena, they give. Vahe, there is a flow. Asru Dara, tears in the eyes. Translation. If one only chants with some slight faith the holy names of Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda, very quickly he is cleansed of all offenses. Thus, as soon as he chants the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, he feels the ecstasy of love of God. I'll read it again. But if one only chants with some slight faith the holy names of Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda, very quickly he is cleansed of all offenses. Thus, as soon as he chants the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, he feels the ecstasy of love of God. Purport is very long. Please listen up. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur remarks in this connection that if one takes shelter of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda, follows their instructions to become more tolerant than the tree and humbler than the grass, in this way chants the holy name of the Lord, very soon he achieves a platform of transcendental loving service to the Lord, and tears appear in the eyes. There are offenses to be considered in chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, but there are no such considerations in chanting the names of Gauda Nityananda. Therefore, if one chants the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, but his life is still full of sinful activities, it will be very difficult for him to achieve the platform of loving service to the Lord. But in spite of being an offender, one chants the holy names of Gauda Nityananda, he is very quickly freed from all the reactions of his offenses. Therefore, one should first approach Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda, or worship Guru Gauranga, and then one comes to the stage of worshipping Radha and Krishna. In our Krishna conscious movements, our students are first advised to worship Guru Gauranga, and then, when they are somewhat advanced, the Radha Krishna deity is installed and they are engaged in worship of the Lord. One should first take shelter of Gaur Nityananda in order to reach ultimately Radha and Krishna. Srila Narottam Das Thakur sings in his connection, Gauranga Balite Habe Pulaka Sariram Hari Hari Bolite Nayane Babe Nira Arkabe Nita Chandira Kuruna Avatar Samsara Vasana More Kabe Tucha Habe Visaya Chadiya Kabe Suda Habe Manam Kabe Habe Hare Sri Vrindavanam. In the beginning, one should very regularly chant Sri Gaurasundar's holy name and then chant the holy name of Lord Nityananda. Thus one's heart will be cleansed of impure desires for material enjoyment. Then one can approach Vrindavan Dham to worship Lord Krishna. Unless one is favored by Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda, there is no need to go to Vrindavan. For unless one's mind is purified, he cannot see Vrindavan, even if he goes there. Actually, going to Vrindavan involves taking shelter of the 6 Goswamis by reading the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Vidagya Madhava, Lalita Madhava, and other books that we have given. In this way, one can understand the transcendental loving affairs of Radha and Krishna. Kabe hame bujai ha ye yugala pariti. The conjugal love between Radha and Krishna is not an ordinary human affair. It is fully transcendental. In order to understand Radha and Krishna worship, in order to understand Radha and Krishna, worship them and engage in their loving service, one must be guided by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu, and the 6 Goswamis, Lord Chaitanya's direct disciples. For an ordinary man, worship of Sri Chaitanya and Nityananda Prabhu, or the Panchatattva, is easier than worship of Radha and Krishna. Unless one is very fortunate, he should not be induced to worship Radha Krishna directly. A neophyte student who is not sufficiently educated or enlightened should not indulge in worship of Sri, Radha, and Krishna, or the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra. Even if he does so, he cannot get the desired results. Therefore, one should chant the name Nitai Gaur and worship them without false prestige. Since everyone within this material world is more or less influenced by sinful activities, in the beginning it is essential that one takes to the worship of Guru and Gauranga and asks their favor. For thus, despite all his disqualifications, one will very soon become qualified to worship Radha Krishna Vigraha. It should be noted in this connection that the holy names of Lord Krishna and Gaurasundar are both identical with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, one should not consider one name to be more potent than the other. Considering the position of people in this age, however, the chanting of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's name is more essential than the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, because Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the most magnanimous incarnation and his mercy is very easily achieved. Therefore, one must first take shelter of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu by chanting Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda. By serving Gaur Nityananda, one is freed from the entanglements of material existence and thus becomes qualified to worship the Radha Krishna deity. Om Gyan Timidandasya Gyanajana Salakaya Chaksu Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manopistam Staptitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadammayam Dadati Swapadantikam. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gaudavani Pacharine Nirvisesa Sunyavadi Pastyatya Desatarine. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Harinam Sankirtan ki jai. So Prabhupada really emphasizes the mercy of Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda over everything. We doing translation? No? Or oh, okay. When Srila Prabhupada was visiting one temple in America, in the area called Atlanta, Georgia, Prabhupada had come, and devotees had come from all over the United States to be with Prabhupada. And Prabhupada, in that particular temple, the main deities are Gaur-Nitai, big, very big brass deities of Gaur-Nitai in the center altar. Radha and Krishna are on the right side, and Jagannath is on the left. So it was a Sankirtan temple. They were practically number one always in book distribution. So they were always worshipping, focusing on their worship, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Lord Nityananda. So Prabhupada came, and he sat down on the Vyasasana, and then he got a pair of kartals and he started singing, Parama Karuna Bahudui Jane Nitai Gaura Chandra. But he didn't get very far. That's as far as he got. And Prabhupada became completely silent, and then he closed his eyes, and the whole place was completely quiet. It was like nothing moved, not even the insects. It was so quiet. Louder? Okay. And Prabhupada sat on the Vyasasana, and then he went into kind of a trance, thinking about Gaur Nitai and how merciful they are. And then everything stopped. And then you could see Prabhupada was crying. There was tears coming out. And the whole place was very quiet. There was like hundreds of devotees there. And then after some moments, which seemed like about a year, he opened his eyes and said, "They are very kind. They are very merciful." And that's all he could say. And then he said, "Just have kirtan." So Prabhupada demonstrated by his own bhakti, of course it was natural, he was feeling, understanding and experience how kind, how merciful, and how, we might say, magnanimous. Namo Mahavadhanaya Krishna Prema Padayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namani Gauda Triste Namaha. That, and Prabhupada would say, just try to understand how merciful Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda. He said, you may have big brain, you may have many good qualifications, many educational carriers, but just apply your intelligence to understand the mercy of Gaur Nitai. He said, you'll never understand. They are so merciful. So, and we have the example of Jagai and Madai. We all know that pastime, how Lord Nityananda gave special mercy to Jagai and Madai, and then of course Lord Chaitanya followed. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, he makes a comment on that pastime, where he says that this activity of Gaur Nitai showing mercy of Jagai and Madai is not simply a historical event. It's not simply one of the pastimes of the Lord from the scriptures. Then he says, well, what is it? He asks the question. And then he answers it. He says that this mercy of Gaur Nitai is a feature of Gaur Nitai's mercy that is happening today. The Jagais and Madais are still being saved all over the world, especially in America. I know, because I used to be one of them. Maybe I still have a little bit of their same qualities, but so we can understand by just how this movement is attracting people from all backgrounds. And as it says here, even if his life is full of sinful activities, if they chant Gaur Nitai, they can become purified. I don't recommend this, but there was one sannyasi. He left our movement, and then he started his own practice of Krishna consciousness, separate from ISKCON. But what he was doing, he was asking his followers, and he gathered some followers, we don't chant Hare Krishna, we chant only Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasati Gaur Bhaktavinda. We chant 8 rounds of Panchatattva mantra. And then after some time he introduced the Hare Krishna mantra. But first he had his followers, of course it's not what Prabhupada recommended we do, but when it says here, it says that, simply by chanting Gaur Nitai or Panchatattva Mahamantra, even the most sinful becomes somewhat glorious, some pious, they become somewhat spiritual. This is the mercy of Gaur Nitai. We can't understand it. Brajendra Nandanaye Sachi Sutta Hoilo Se Balaram Hoilintai. The same Krishna and Balaram have now come again in the most merciful manifestation of Shri Shri Gaur Nitai. And they're going everywhere around the world. We see everywhere in the world Gaur Nitai is present. Even in And that's just one of the more difficult places of Gaur Nitai is. They're even in some Muslim countries also. So they, Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, want to make the whole world, what we say, God conscious, Krishna conscious. And so their mercy is being distributed through their followers, and their followers are spreading that mercy everywhere. So we can see here from this purport, as Prabhupada makes the same point over and over and over again. Don't try to approach Radha and Krishna without approaching Gaur Nitai. He says it's not possible in this age. Because in previous Kali Yugas, the door to Vrindavan was not available. There is an incarnation in every Kali Yuga of Gaur Narayan. He's called Gaur Narayan. So he teaches Vaikuntha, not Goloka Vrindavan. But only in this age, when Krishna comes as Sri Krishna Vrindavan, then Mahaprabhu, along with Nityananda and his followers, come, then the door to Vrindavan Dham becomes available. Only then. So only once in every 1,000 yuga cycles can one achieve the attainment of the highest level of spiritual level of practice, and that is the Goloka Vrindavan. Nowhere else. So this particular verse emphasizes, and therefore as Prabhupada says, we have, even if we're chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, but we're not worshipping Gaur Nitai, and chanting won't really develop beyond a certain point. Because the whole process of Krishna consciousness is based on mercy. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is very merciful, the most merciful. We have so many examples of his mercy. Even today, devotees are becoming, followers of Radha and Krishna simply by worshipping Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Sri Nityananda. And who's more merciful, Lord Chaitanya or Lord Nityananda? Why? Why is Nityananda more merciful than Lord Chaitanya? Because he's distributing Lord Chaitanya's mercy. Lord Chaitanya sometimes doesn't distribute his own mercy. So he distributed it through his dear and very intimate brother, Lord Nityananda. So, but the manifestation of Lord Nityananda's mercy even becomes even greater through the spiritual master, particularly Srila Prabhupada. Someone asked Srila Prabhupada, who are you in the spiritual world? Prabhupada said, that you do not require. In other words, none of your business. And then someone asked again, and Prabhupada said, if I told you, you would faint. So we know Prabhupada's a very intimate associate of the Lord. He came to do this. But Prabhupada also said one time in a very intimate conversation with some of his disciples, he said, my color in the spiritual world is reddish gold. So you know whose color that is? Nityananda's. Because you go to Mayapur Dham, you see there's 3 colors of gold on that altar. Not just one color of gold, there's 3. There's Mahaprabhu and Gadadhar, they are golden. Srivas and Advaita are whitish gold. You can see a type of white. And Nityananda is reddish gold. There's 3 different colors. So Prabhupada mentioned that his color was reddish gold. So that means he's coming from that tattva of Lord Nityananda, which is the manifestation of the most merciful of all of the aspects of the Godhead, Sri Nityananda. Therefore, we chant Gaur Nitai. What is that? Sri Krishna Chaitanya. Pancha Tattva Makam Krishnam Bhakta Rupa Sarupakam Bhakta Avataram Bhakta Kyam Namami Bhakti Shaktikam. Prabhupada says, the Mayavadis say that there is no personality of Godhead. God is impersonal. But we say God is person, but not only person, he's 5 persons. So one lecture Prabhupada said, yes, the Mayavadis say there's no personality of Godhead. We say there's 5. Because all of these 5 make up a different aspect of the absolute truth. And they're all combined together, they're the manifestation of the absolute truth in 5 different features that perform different aspects of the absolute truth for the sake of performing their leelas in the material world. So that's Lord Chaitanya and his followers. And Lord Chaitanya's followers, his intimate associates, are also very merciful. Especially Srivas Thakur, he's very merciful. One time Advaitacharya, he got really excited. He wanted to glorify Lord Chaitanya. And Lord Chaitanya was, Chana avatar. He didn't like to be called the Supreme Lord. And if people would do that, he would block his ears. But this time, Advaita, of course Advaita knew. So he gathered all of the disciples, followers together and said, let's have kirtan. But we're going to do a different kirtan. We're going to chant Gauranga. 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 Gauranga! And so they became all nervous, kind of scared, like, Lord Chaitanya finds out, he's going to be angry. But Advaita was just pushing. So he said, come on, we got to chant Gauranga, let's chant Gauranga, Gauranga, Gauranga. And so, all right, so everyone there started gradually following Advaita. So a big kirtan went on. And Lord Chaitanya, of course, wasn't there. And they were chanting, Gauranga, 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 Gauranga. And they were dancing, and they were really becoming really ecstatic, dancing everywhere, chanting. And Advaita was just pushing, come on, chant more, Gauranga, Gauranga, Gauranga. And then Lord Chaitanya, he was a distance away, and he said, oh, there's a kirtan. Oh, okay. So he started coming closer, and then when he got close, he said, what are they chanting? Why are they not chanting Krishna's name? And then everyone saw the Chaitanya had come, and then they all stopped. But Advaita said, no, keep going, chant, Gauranga, 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 Gauranga. So they started, and half of them were chanting, and half of them didn't know what to do. And then Lord Chaitanya just turned, and he walked away. And he went into his room, closed the door, and went to sleep. And so, this wire is too short. So he closed the door and went to sleep. After some time, he came out. It was in the middle of the day, and Srivas was there. Srivas was there to greet him. And then Lord Chaitanya said to Srivas, why are the devotees not chanting Krishna's name? And then Srivas took his hand and he held it up in the sky like that. And Lord Chaitanya said, what are you doing? He said, I'm blocking the sun. And Lord Chaitanya said, you can't block the sun with your hand. Yes, that's true, and you can't hide yourself from us. So Lord Chaitanya didn't know what to say. So the devotees, even though Lord Chaitanya did his best to somehow discourage the devotees from glorifying him, they couldn't help it because they knew he was the Supreme Lord. And they wanted to do whatever they could to glorify him. But sometimes he would run away. One time Lord Chaitanya said to Srivas, "Hey, Srivas, you got a big family. You don't work. You don't do anything. How do you maintain? How do you eat?" So Srivas went, three times. Lord Chaitanya said, "What does that mean?" Well, Srivas said, "If Lord Krishna doesn't feed me for one day, if he doesn't feed me and my family, doesn't take care of us for 2 days, and if he neglects us for 3 days, I drown myself in the Ganges." Lord Chaitanya got so excited. He just roared, "Run, Srivas! Even if the goddess of fortune, Lakshmi Devi, has to go with a begging bowl from door to door, you will always have food in your home." So I tell that for people who have a job. Now, I don't tell you to quit your job, but if you have that faith, it works. If you don't have that faith, keep working until you get the faith. Because the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he takes care of his devotees. There's no question about that. Grihe tako bone taka sabdahari bole dako. He's always taking care of his devotees. Especially, even takes care of the non-devotees, and they don't even have any regard for him. So his devotee, he takes care of his devotees and he likes to take care of his devotees. The story of Magrari the hunter was illustrated. How Magrari was such a vicious hunter. He was trained to shoot animals half kill them and let them die in agony, suffering from his arrows. Narada Muni and Parvat Muni came along and said, What are you doing? How can you do this? Who's doing all this? And then they came to Magrari. Magrari was proud. Yes, this is my tradition. I kill animals half dead, and then I just take great joy watching them suffer. So Narada said, okay, he needs some lessons. So Narada started speaking to him and said, if you continue to do that, and actually he showed him his future, that all of these animals that you're causing such suffering to, they will all come back and kill you, one after another. So you would have to die so many deaths because of the animals. So he became afraid. And then he said, well, what should I do? And then Narada said, you break your bow. He said, break my bow? How am I going to live? Don't worry, just break your bow. Don't worry, Krishna will take care of you. And then you stay here and you chant the holy name, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. And then he said, well, who will take care of my family? This is our tradition. My ancestors, that's how we live. Narada said, just break your bow, don't worry, Krishna will take care of you. So he had a little faith in the words of Narada Muni. So he broke his bow, and then he said, you sit down here and chant. And so he did. And then people were thinking, there's this devotee hunter, Vaishnav hunter, Hare Krishna. It's kind of like an oxymoron, a Vaishnav hunter. But they were thinking like that. So they were thinking, he's a very interesting person. So they start bringing all kinds of food and attar, vegetables and everything family could have, even 10 times more than he possibly needed. He was getting so much. And then after some time, this went on for a few months, and Narada and Parvat came back. He wanted to see how his hunter devotee was doing. And when he saw Narada come, he ran, but then he stopped. And then there was some ants in the path there, so he took his cloth and started just pushing the ants aside so he could offer his obeisances. And Parvat said, "What did you do to him? How is this possible? Before he was killing animals and enjoy it, now he won't even kill an ant." That's the power of Krishna's mercy coming in the form of the holy name. And then, of course, he surrendered completely to Narada and became his disciple. So that hunter didn't have to worry about anything. Everything was taken care of by the Lord. And the Lord is like that. He takes care of his devotees. He protects them. He gives them shelter. He maintains them, and he provides everything they need to live. So especially Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Lord Nityananda, they're very merciful. Give you an example of a pastime, how merciful Lord Chaitanya was. Lord Chaitanya would go into the house of Srivas Thakur in the evenings. One time he said, every day we're going out in the streets and we're doing Harinam, singing and dancing, chanting the holy name. And guess what we're doing at night? We're sleeping. Oh my God, we're wasting time. We should stop this sleeping. Now we will begin Nagar Sankirtan in the house of Srivas every night at sunset. So the devotees, not all the devotees, but only the intimate devotees were allowed into that particular lila of Lord Chaitanya. And Mukunda and the Dvaitacharya, they would come and they would sing and Lord Chaitanya would dance. And Srivas would make sure no one who wasn't an intimate associate of Lord Chaitanya would come, because Lord Chaitanya would go into such ecstasy of dancing that he would exhibit all these ecstatic symptoms. And people who are not on a lower level wouldn't understand they may also criticize. So only the most intimate associates of Lord Chaitanya were allowed into that kirtan. And Srivas would make sure. So one day, there was some crying in the back part of the house. And Srivas went back to see. And the room was full of many of the relatives. Most of them were ladies. And laying on the bed was Srivas Thakur's son. He was only 4 years old, and he had got sick and he had died. And so the ladies were crying, and they were crying a little loud. So Srivas said, "Why are you crying?" "Well, your son died." "All right, but don't cry so loud. Cry softly." So he said, "You're disturbing Lord Chaitanya." And so he went back. And then 7.5 hours later, Lord Chaitanya stopped his kirtan. He said, "Srivas, there's some calamity in this house." Srivas said, "When you're here, my dear Lord, how can there be any calamity?" "No, something was wrong." "Well, since you asked, my son died." "Your son died? When?" "Oh, about 7.5. Why didn't you tell me? I didn't want to disturb you. Where is he?" So they went back into the room, and the boy was laying on the bed. And Lord Chaitanya came up to the boy, and then he placed his hand on the chest of the boy, and he said to the boy, "Where did you go? Or why did you go? Why did you go?" So the boy rose back to life. He sat up. He looked around, and he said, "Who are these people?" "Oh, they're your relatives." "In which birth? Are they my relatives?" So he starts speaking eternal religious principles. that the soul goes from life to life in different situations, and we have different friends, different relatives, different family members, life after life. Maya Ravase, Kacho Bese, Kacho Habubu Dubai, Jeev Krishna Das, Hey Vishwas, Kolena Dukanai, and life after life in different situations with different people, different souls, sometimes the same ones again. You had your wife in the last life, and now she's the husband and you're the wife. The roles get switched around. So you never know, karma dive a trainer. So then Lord Chaitanya said to the boy, "Where did you go?" He said, "I am your eternal servant, and my time in this body is finished, and by your arrangement, I am going on to my next body." And everyone was listening. And then the boy just laid down and he died again. And everyone was just amazed to see how Lord Chaitanya gave that knowledge to everyone, that the soul is eternal and the body is temporary. So then Lord Chaitanya, feeling great appreciation and love for Srivas and his family, he decided to do the last rites for the departed soul. And he made all the arrangements, and the body was taken down to the banks of the Ganga, and the Lord performed the ceremony of the last rites for the departed soul personally with his own hands, just to show his love for his devotee. The Lord Chaitanya loves his devotees very, very dearly. So to become a devotee of Lord Chaitanya, he is very, very special. Very special. Because Lord Chaitanya is the most magnificent, magnanimous. Even if the devotee does something wrong or acts simply, if the devotee feels repentant and gets up, gets back into devotional service, the Lord welcomes him back, and it's like it never even happened. The Lord is so kind. So Gaura-Nitai, we can't really glorify them enough. Their leelas in this material world are full of their compassion for the fallen conditioned souls. But they manifest that compassion by the process of kirtan. Kirtan is the ultimate principle of worshipping the Lord in this age. Kali Kale, Namarupa, Krishna Avata, Namahoite Haya Sarva Jagat Nishtara. And in this age, Sri Krishna has now come again in the form of his holy name, and that holy name is the means for self-realization. Just chant Hare Krishna, that's all. And take prasad too. And if you have some time, read some books. And it's also recommended because the pastimes of the Lord, the glories of the Lord, his qualities, his forms, his entourage are so full of transcendental nectar that we want to hear more and more about it. So this process of Krishna consciousness is so wonderful. And of course, here I am in one of the best temples in this area for distributing books. The information was given to me, 6,50,000 for the marathon. 6,50,000. That's 12,000 books, right? 12,500 books. 1 lakh big books. Good. Prabhupada said, flood the world with books. Our movement is about distributing the mercy through Lord Chaitanya in kirtan and in transcendental knowledge. And these books are the way. Devotees are everywhere distributing books. And just like Like I come from the Western countries, we preach in Western countries. And many people from India, they leave India, they go to the West thinking they're going to have a better life. Prabhupada said, you think you're going to heaven, but if you go into heaven, you realize that most of the people are in hell. It's a kind of a false heaven. But then what we see is that many of them who come from India, they're thinking, now I'm going to be happy materially, and then what happens? Nityananda and Lord Chaitanya grab them. Hey, where are you going? You can't get away. They grab him. So many people from India, when they come to the West, they wouldn't become Krishna conscious in India, but when they go to the West, they meet Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda in the form of his devotees, and they take up Krishna consciousness. So they can't get away. That's special mercy. Prabhupada describes Lord Chaitanya's mercy. He says, your friend, he comes up to you and says, oh, nice to see you. I want to give you something. So he takes some money out of his pocket, says, here, this is for you. I want to give you some donation. And you say, no. That's all right. You're very kind. You keep it. And he says, no, you please take it. And you say, no, that's all right. And he says, all right. And he takes it, and he pushes it in your pocket, and he closes your pocket. You can't take it out. He said, that's Lord Chaitanya. Even if you don't want it, you get it. That's his mercy. That's how merciful he is. And because his desire is to show compassion to all of the living entities, in the form of this transcendental chanting and dancing. This is our life. And so, of course, making others fortunate by distributing books and inviting them into the eternal Sankirtan movement. So that's our mission. We live to preach, and we preach to live. Because preaching is really our life and soul. And because it's the life and soul of the parampara, it's the desire of the Lord. The Lord comes personally just to uplift the conditioned souls. So our movement is centered around showing mercy to the fallen souls by serving Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda by distributing their mercy to the fallen conditioned souls in the form of this transcendental knowledge. Okay, thank you. I mean, we can speak all day about Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, but they say you can't live by philosophy alone. You need prasad. So, any questions, comments on anything?
Hare Krishna Maharaji. Thank you so much, Maharaji, for so nicely explaining. Maharaji, sometimes it happens that Krishna Prasadam, we have natural taste for it. Harinam Sankirtan is, it seems, we can go for Harinam Sankirtan as well. And Bhagavatam class is also there. But when it comes to chanting, there is no taste for it. Somehow...
No taste for chanting?
Chanting
I was watching
japa.
You dance today, boy. If that's called no taste, I wonder what taste is. He was dancing like a madman. We have to add to your name. We'll give you another name called Avaduta. So tell me about your lack of taste. I don't believe you, but anyway. Anyway, it can be theoretical. Go ahead. Oh, he's asking for all of us. Yeah, thank you. Paropaka. Thank you. That's a Vaishnava. He always thinks about others. Krishna, 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 Krishna. Krishna 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare Krishna 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 Pahimam Krishna 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 Pahimam Rama Raghava Rama Raghava Rama Raghava Rakshamam Rama Raghava Rakshamam Krishna Keshava Krishna Keshava Krishna Keshava Pahimam Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Haribo, 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 Nitya Gaur, Haribo. Nitya Gaur, Haribo, 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 Gaur, Haribo. Okay, you got your taste back?
Thank you, Maharaji.
It's there. Yeah. Prabhupada said sometimes we lose our enthusiasm in devotional service and we feel like we're just kind of nowhere, we're kind of lost. It may happen sometimes. He said just sit down and in a very calm and peaceful way, just chant. He said after some time your enthusiasm will return. Yeah. The holy name is the Ausadi. What is it? Enechya Sari Maya Nasi Bade Lagi Harinama Maha Mantra Now Tumi Magi. Ausadi, it's the medicine in this age. Whatever sickness you have, chant Hare Krishna. If you don't have any sickness, chant Hare Krishna and you won't get sick. The holy name is everything. It's just, Prabhupada also mentions that, over and over again. Just take shelter of Krishna's name. And of course, not that 16 rounds of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur mentions, if you chant every day, you'll chant always. And the goal is to chant always. Or we might say to remember Krishna satatam, kirtam. Always remember Krishna. So by practicing every day, chanting more and more and more, we come to the point of developing a taste for that chanting. And when that taste comes, then it becomes easy and natural and spontaneous just to chant, whatever you're doing. What do they say in Bengal? Bengali say, Hate koro kaje, muki bolo hori. Any Bengalis here? No Bengal. Hate koro kaje, muki bolo hori. Yeah. So work with your hands. Chant Hare Krishna. Yeah, and so this process of Lord Chaitanya is so merciful and so easy. Maya makes things difficult, but the process is easy. When Maya comes, Haribol Prabhu. Who's there? It's me, Maya. Oh, I'm busy, come back tomorrow. Yes. It's me, Maya. You told me to come back tomorrow. Yes, I said tomorrow. Tomorrow never comes. It's always today. So just keep postponing Maya. When she wants to engage you in her service, just say you're too busy. Come back tomorrow. Don't tell her no, because she'll do something really difficult. So just tell her, just keep postponing Maya. That's all. Tell her you'll be back soon, don't worry. But there's no Maya. Maya's an illusion. Okay, anything else? Any more questions, comments? Yes, Mataji. Well, the microphone's coming back there.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, Dandavat Pranam. Hare Krishna Maharaj, Dandavat Pranam. My question is that how can we protect ourselves from false ego and Vaishnava Aparad?
How can we get rid of the false ego?
And Vaishnava Aparad.
And Vaishnava Aparad? Well, one way to prevent Vaishnava Aparad is always be in the mood of service. Try, wherever you are, think, how can I serve? And if you're with Vaishnavas, you think, let me serve the Vaishnavas, or let me think of ways I can serve the Vaishnavas. And serving the Vaishnavas is proactive. In other words, you have to think of ways to serve the Vaishnavas. So if you're always thinking how to serve the Vaishnavas, you'll avoid committing offenses to the Vaishnavas. Offenses are due to when we want to become the enjoyer in the association of devotees. Then we somehow or other put ourselves in the center, and everyone else is meant for helping me enjoy. But it's the other way around. That's the material consciousness. Spiritual consciousness is Krishna's the center, the devotees are the center, and I'm the servant. How can I serve? Think of ways to serve. And then whatever venue you're in, you can see what is going on and serve in that way, like that. So that will help you, that will prevent you from falling into this mood of Vaishnava Aparad. Because we commit offenses when we want to become the enjoyer, and then we act in the wrong way, and we become critical, or we say things we didn't really mean, but it came out anyway. So just try to be in the mood of service, and try to see the devotees are. Imagine if you had to live away from devotees, only with karmis, you had no devotee association. How would you feel? You'd feel, oh my God, where are the devotees? The karmis are, they don't really understand me, nor do they care about me. But devotees care. Devotees are special. You can fulfill all your desires for Krishna consciousness only in the association of devotees. That's why Prabhupada said there are 3 things that are important in Krishna consciousness. He said, association, association, association. These 3 things. So what does it mean to associate? To be in the mood of service. How can I serve? So if you're in kirtan, you're singing and dancing, and you're trying to inspire others by your own singing and dancing. That's service. You think of ways how to serve the devotees. There's one lady I know, she's in America. She's a pujari, and she has access to the Maha. She's about my age, she's very old. And she would get the Maha every day, and then she'd go around just giving Maha to the devotees all day. And then sometimes she carried little books with her, and she'd meet a a guest would come to the temple and she would give him a book and speak about Krishna. So her whole day is just doing things for different devotees, guests, like that. That's all she does. So she's just thinking how to serve, that's all. So if we're in that mood of service, then this false ego will go away, because false ego means I'm the center and I am the enjoyer. Real ego means I am Jivaya Surupai Krishnera Nitya Das. That's real ego. So practice that. Practice always being in the mood of service. How can I serve? And if you can't think of anything to serve, just chant Hare Krishna. But that's not the last resort. But still, if it comes to that point where you want to serve, but there's maybe no service that you can think of, then when you're chanting Hare Krishna, your association is desirable. People want to associate with people who are Krishna conscious. Does that help? Just be in the mood of service. That's the answer, really. Try as much as you can. Because that mood of service is not artificial. It's real, because that's our nature. Our nature is to serve. We can serve as a mother, we can serve as a friend, we can serve as a sannyasi, we can serve as a pujari, but whatever role we play externally, it's all in the mood of service. Mm-hmm. Yes. Mm-hmm. How did I come in contact with Srila Prabhupada? I walked in the door and there he was. That's not the answer, right? How did I meet Prabhupada? I was in the New Vrindavan farm community and Prabhupada came. And that was my first experience with Prabhupada when he came there. He was giving classes, and I was also a brahmachari cooking. I used to cook. So I had to cook. Before Prabhupada came one day, they asked all the cooks to make their special preparation for Prabhupada. So my special preparation was pera. So I was cooking it regularly. So I cooked some pera for Prabhupada. And then, it's a long story. I'll skip all the details, but he liked my pera, so anyway, that's why I'm still here, because Prabhupada gave me blessings based on my pera. So, yeah, so I didn't have many Prabhupada disciples had so much associated with Prabhupada. I had maybe 2 or 3 times, that's all. And I was always in the New Vrindavan community, so I didn't travel so much out. And when Prabhupada came, sometimes I would go to his class. One time I went to his class. But most of the time I was in the kitchen cooking, so I couldn't even go to the classes sometimes. So, but those 2 or 3 times were really pretty powerful for me. Thank you. Yeah.
Maharaja, as you mentioned, from the pastime of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Srivas Thakur, Srivas Thakur was hiding about the incident of his passing away of his son.
Oh, that one.
And requesting his family members to keep quiet and not to disturb the Sankirtan of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. From this, what we can understand? But we are always worry about praying for others. But there, Srivastava didn't pray.
It's explained that he had so much devotion to Lord Chaitanya, and Lord Chaitanya used to go into his ecstasies of love of God in his kirtans, that Srivas didn't want him to become disturbed. He did everything to prevent anyone from disturbing Lord Chaitanya's kirtan. So that was his love for Lord Chaitanya. And Lord Chaitanya didn't like to get disturbed either. Especially when he was singing and dancing, he would just get into ecstasy. So that was Srivas Thakur's service to Lord Chaitanya, to make sure no one disturbed his kirtan.
Harish.
Okay, question?
Yes, Harish. Thank you, Maharaj, for such a sweet kirtan, pure holy name, and the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, how to actually receive that. Maharaj, one question is there, that you met Prabhupada only 2 times or 3 times, but we have been trying so much strong, pure association for so long. But what drive you that you are so completely surrendered and given everything in these 2 meetings, but we can't actually, after so much of mercy, are not able to get out of. Yet totally surrender fully. You met 2 times or 3 times, you told Srila Prabhupada.
I had a lot of association with a lot of senior devotees who were my godbrothers, who helped me a lot in Krishna consciousness, gave me a lot of chastisement, corrections, nicely, and also inspiration on how to practice Krishna. One particular godbrother was outstanding in my life. He still is. That's Radhanath Swami Maharaj. So we joined together in New Vrindavan. He came in 1972 and I came in 73. So we served together. I was Pujari. I was cook and he was Pujari. So he was fixed even when he first joined, he was fixed in Krishna consciousness. If you read his book, The Journey Home, you've read that book? Yeah. He traveled in India just as a wandering mendicant for 2 years, going to all the holy places before he even met Srila Prabhupada. So he was a big inspiration in my Krishna consciousness. And I had his association regularly. So when we get that kind of, association, we consider ourselves very fortunate. So we should seek out the association of advanced devotees, because by their association we can also become advanced in Krishna consciousness. Okay, so we can stop here? Sure. Or do you have another question? No. All right. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki
Jai.
Nityananda Ram ki
Jai.
Jai Gaura Premanande
Hari Hari Bol.
Srila Prabhupada ki
His Holiness Candramauli Swami Maharaj ki Jai.